Hello and welcome back to the WSMX programming training. In this lab recording, we are talking about lab number 3, task number 2, or in short, task 3.2. And in this lab, we are exploring the execution of test method code in the debug shell. The debug shell is a dedicated debug tool in the debug perspective, and there you can execute single lines or a couple of lines of test method code. And yeah, we are following the steps as here given in the lab manual. And I think for that, I better put it aside here and we directly jump into my smart test session. And one of the first um, actions is to open the distortion test suite, and then in the test method code we jump to line number 55. Here we set a breakpoint at the set result spectrum, and we gonna set a second breakpoint here in line 57 where we actually evaluate the fundamental power. Okay, and then with that we gonna actually start a debug session. So for that we just simply click here. We confirm that we want to switch. We still have our breakpoints here, and now the thing is that we go to the distortion test suite and execute it, and then you see that we stop here in line 55, right where we set our first breakpoint. Now the thing is that we switch into the debug shell, and you already see that here I copy pasted some um, Java code. So what we're gonna do is basically we gonna execute this one here, and then I just added another line here where I wanna print basically the fundamental power of the result spectrum. So if you wanna execute code here in the debug shell, you first really have to select all the lines you want to execute, and then actually this execute the selected test uh, is enabled. So if we don't do that, then you cannot click here. Okay, so we're gonna click on those two and click execute, and then you see that immediately we jumped into the system console, and then you see here that the number of signal periods was not specified but is required to calculate power values and power ratios. Please set please use the set periods method to set the number of signal periods before calling this routine. So the thing is that we kind of like omitted this line here because we set the breakpoint. It is not executed, and in the debug shell we directly jump to that one, and this is why we get this error message. And also in the debug shell you see if you execute some code, um, then also there will be some failures written into the debug shell here right away, giving you here the exception thrown for exactly this problem. Um, so what we're gonna do now is we scroll up here to, oh, I'm not in, I'm sorry. I think that looks better now. We Here in the toolbar, we're gonna click on the resume button, and then you see we jump to the next line here, right where we set our next breakpoint. We're gonna delete that one here, and if we wanna now execute exactly this code snippets here again, uh, then we again jump directly into the console. But I mean, those lines here were from before. We can also, wait a second, we could also just simply, uh, gonna show you later. But what's new is basically that here now we have printed out this line here, what is exactly the one we have specified here. So you also see that here we are missing this error message. We could basically just go here. Let me first clear the console. Um, let's execute that one here again, and then we jump right way to the system console, and you see there's no exception thrown anymore, and we are fine to execute this test method code here. Okay, I think that is basically it for this task. So with that, we just want to draw your attention to the fact that we have this debug shell and that you can directly jump into that one and then execute test method code. And I think also with that you can combine this with other debugging tools. And that's it. And we will continue with the next task in a separate lab recording. Okay, thank you and hear you later.